Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Steve Breach coming to you here today. We are on the upcoming eve of the No Mercy pay-per-view for WWE. This is the big show, highlighted by the fact that Braun Strowman's going to be going after the Universal Championship for the first time against Brock Lesnar. And then we also have John Cena versus Roman Reigns. Both of these matches, honestly, have sort of been heavily speculated. Why WWE is doing these at No Mercy? Why is WWE not doing these at WrestleMania or, a bigger event like SummerSlam or Royal Rumble? I think, honestly, that this is good for wrestling. People are talking about wrestling. We're coming up on the month of October, and normally in the months of October, November, December, wrestling really takes a skid. We've got Survivor Series, we've got TLC. Those are pay-per-views that honestly have big matches that most of the time people care about, but it's also the time when most of the time your champion, Brock Lesnar, or your main event, your sort of sideshow, is not appearing on the show. And, Brock's around. John Cena made the jump from SmackDown to Monday Night Raw as a part of him being a free agent. And they're giving us this big sort of dream match. I think that, honestly, Roman and John Cena have been in the ring before. But I think that it was way before the Shield had broken up. And really, Roman Reigns had been able to show that he could be the main eventer, he could be the champion. So it sort of makes this first one a big one. There's a whole lot of questions. There's a whole lot of, what ifs about this match. People wondering if Cena's going to win. People are wondering if Roman's going to win. Cena's got to be leaving sooner than later. I think everybody's seen the news of him being in that Transformers spin-off movie. I didn't even think he would be around this long once it was announced that he's going to be there. I still read that he's appearing on house shows, so I don't know when he has free time in order to be going out and filming the movie, as well as doing Monday Night Raw and doing house shows and everything that's jam-packed in the WWE schedule, as well as all the sort of side gigs that this guy likes to do. We do know that he's going to be leaving us sooner than later. And even though, you go back to WrestleMania 27, WrestleMania 28, when Cena was feuding against The Rock, and he said all of those things, I got to remember, honestly, that even though I was on Team Cena, I defended the reasons why The Rock left to go off to Hollywood and, become the major acting star that he did. And you have to send thanks out to The Rock for coming back to wrestling, and still being able to sort of, help out WWE become the pop culture event that it was. I mean, honestly, when The Rock came back before WrestleMania 27, I think the WrestleMania 27 was definitely bigger than WrestleMania 26. 28 was definitely bigger than 27. And wrestling has been growing in popularity ever since then. I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but I can't remember, being able to go into Hot Topic and Spencer's in the mall and be able to pick out wrestling shirts from guys that are on the roster, as well as, guys from New Japan or wrestling in the indies, like the Young Bucks and Cody Rhodes and the other guys that have shirts there, like the Bullet Club. I think that wrestling's getting bigger, and I think that John is a guy who's not going to retire from wrestling. I think that, honestly, he is going to still find side gigs to make movies, but he will come back from time to time, whether if it's for a SummerSlam, whether if it's for a WrestleMania, or just any time that he can kick it into high gear. We can all remember that The Rock, he came back to Monday Night Raw and did the thing with Rusev when he just happened to be in New York the same day that Raw was going to be there. We showed up at a house show in Boston not that long ago, just to deliver a promo and nothing else, because he was in town and he had free time and he wanted to do it. He wanted to give those people in Boston a story to be able to tell, for the rest of their lives. You remember the time The Rock just fucking showed up. It's a hard pick to match. It's a hard match to pick. I want to pick Roman just because I'm a smart wrestling fan and I think that that's the direction that they're going to go. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me for Cena to win and then not be on Monday Night Raw the next night or the next pay-per-view. But then again, that's what they did with Rock after WrestleMania 28. Cena even told us that basically I'm the guy who's going to be here on the Raw after WrestleMania. I'm the guy who's going to be here the week after the Raw after WrestleMania. And he's not going to be here. And Rock still ended up winning that match. And even though I think they had like a side story that never really got discussed, but Cena's year between WrestleMania 28 and 29 sucked. I think the guy that year couldn't even beat John Laurinaitis. He did win the Money in the Bank, but he was not able to cash it in. And it was almost like every time he thought he was back up at the top, he fell back down. And he needed to beat The Rock at WrestleMania 29 in order to get over that hump. So maybe that is a storyline that they could do with Cena and Roman, that Cena gets the win, Cena goes off to make movies, and shows up whenever he wants to, and moves on in that direction. I can honestly tell you that as far as I know, Cena versus Roman is the one match that I'm watching No Mercy for. I'll put up with the other 2.5 hours. Braun versus Brock Lesnar is a match that honestly I do care about, but it's not something that I'd be setting an alarm for to make sure that I'm watching it. If it was the only main event of that show, it probably would have just got looked at on Twitter, and that's just the God's honest truth about it. But I'm picking Roman to win the match. I can honestly tell you that I want Cena to win the match, but I'm sort of really looking forward to where they go from here. If Roman wins, God, hit me with lightning now. He could go on a massive heel turn that I think could change WWE and sort of become, the big shot Hollywood Roman Reigns, where he's bragging about the fact that he beat the biggest fish in the pond. He beat Triple H. He beat The Undertaker. He can beat anybody. And people will still boo him anyway. So then again, if Cena wins, he's not going to be there. So I don't know where they go from there other than Roman having to have somebody make fun of him for the fact that he tried to step up and knock out the big fish and he couldn't do it. But I don't even really know who that could be. I would hate to see just, Cena or Roman beat Cena, and then all of a sudden Roman is the next guy to get a one-on-one shot against Brock, because that's honestly a WrestleMania match. No matter what I say about it, I mean, that's possibly one of the biggest matches they could give us. So they're not going to give us Undertaker versus Cena. If they're not going to give us, I don't even know if Cena versus Roman at WrestleMania after No Mercy is still going to have a big time, appeal. Normally, if a match is going to be a WrestleMania match, they protect it. I mean, like, everybody knew that, Brock versus Angle was going to happen sooner than later with their backgrounds and them being similar wrestlers and then being two of the best wrestlers in the company. But they didn't just give us Angle versus Brock before WrestleMania 20 on some random pay-per-view. They made you wait for it, and they made the story play out to get us there. So I think this is something. I just don't really know what it is yet. But if I had to put my money down, I'm putting my money on Roman.